Harry Truman was the president at this time who signed the Displaced Persons Act, but before he signed the act, he first had to constantly ask Congress to pass the bill or to even consider the act to be worked on. But President Truman also didn't like how this act was discriminating against the Jews trying to come to America and Americans who had moved to Germany, Austria, or Italy prior to December 22, 1945. The only reason Truman didn't wait for this act to be worked on to leave out all this discrimination was because he felt that he had to help the thousands of people that are able to be helped by this act. The Displaced Persons Act began 3 years after World War II to let people displaced by the war or refugees to find somewhere to live in America. And this act had some requirements. The requirements were a preference system, mainly wanting people with skills or people who could fill in jobs that America needed. They excluded some people with different political beliefs like Nazis or communists. This act also had ethnic favoritism toward Eastern Europe and also gave less advantage to Jewish people who survived the Holocaust trying to find new settlements. These requirements also made it so that they could refuse anyone with a minor sickness, no value to what America needed. And if you were suspected to be a communist, even without any evidence to say you were. The Displaced Persons Act started on June 25, 1948, but would be ended on July 1, 1952, meaning this act lived for 4 years. Before this act had ended on June 27, 1952, the Immigration Act, which fixed what the Displaced Persons Act failed to do, like not only including refugees but also immigrants. This act also stopped excluding Asian countries. And now the only people that weren't allowed were communists and anarchists, because this was closing onto the Cold War era. This is what the Displaced Persons Act was, how it worked, and how it changed over time into the Immigration Act.